Welcome back to Our Issues Milwaukee. I'm your host, Andrea Williams, and today's show is focused on our veterans as we prepare to observe Veterans Day on Tuesday, November 11th. America's homeless veterans have served in World War II, the Korean War, Cold War, Vietnam, the Gulf War, Afghanistan, Iraq, and the list goes on. And in Milwaukee, 1 of every 4 homeless persons is a veteran. My next guest represents an organization that helps support the needs of our veterans, Kirtsin Sobieski. She's the executive director of Milwaukee Homeless Veterans Initiative. Good morning, Kirtsin. How are you?
Good morning, Andrea. Thank you. I'm very well.
Thank you for being here. And I think what you do is so very important because people always, especially during this time of year, remember the hard work and the fight that our veterans have put in for our country. But a lot of times they get lost in the shuffle of just everyday life because of some of the issues that they face after going to war. So homelessness is something that you see among veterans on a daily basis.
That's correct.
Yeah, tell us more about your organization and how you serve those veterans.
Milwaukee Homeless Veterans Initiative is an organization that was founded by 2 Vietnam veterans back in 2008 to address the needs of the growing number of veterans in our community that have been, became, or at some point in their lives were at risk of homelessness. And through our organization, our goal is to fill in the gaps that other veterans organizations and governmental agencies aren't able to fill when addressing the needs of the homeless. We strive to never leave our wounded behind. That is our motto. Our mission is to help every single veteran achieve their highest level of independence. So this is the work that we're doing in cooperation with many other organizations, both veteran organizations and community resources here in Milwaukee and Milwaukee County, and actually surrounding counties too.
Yeah, and I'm sure I speak for a lot of people when I say thank you for the hard work that you do every day, and you too are a veteran, so thank you for the service that you've put in for our country. Tell us a little bit about your background as a vet.
Well, I'm an Army veteran, as you said. My husband is a Gulf War vet. Between the two of us and our families, we have a long list of veterans dating back to every war and peacetime, actually, throughout our country's history. And that's something that I think almost every person in Milwaukee and throughout our country can identify with. Every family has a veteran somewhere. Our organization, the majority of our staff, we have 6 full-time staff members, and 5 of the staff members are veterans themselves. Most of our volunteers, if they're not vets, they know a vet or they're helping us because of the memory of a vet. We have so many people throughout the community that really reach out to us because of the fact that so many people have experienced the situations that our homeless have on any given day, and it's just one of those things where it's throughout the veteran community, people want to pay it forward, and that's very important for all of us.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. So looking at the issue of homelessness, there are 300 to 400 homeless vets that are in Milwaukee and another 5,500 identified as at risk. So your organization started the first food pantry in Wisconsin, and you have some other core programs that truly help make a difference with the vets that you serve. Tell us about some of those.
Well, we do have an emergency food pantry for veterans that aren't necessarily able to make ends meet from one week to another, and we also have our core programs, which are to provide outreach to veterans that are still on the street that we have identified and have been able to establish somewhat of a trusted relationship with. We also provide food through our home support program, which is a program that once a veteran does have a place to live, our organization is the one that's there to help them set up in their new place. We bring household goods and furniture and a bag of groceries on every delivery. We're the first and the only one at the time that was providing the furniture and household goods, because whereas there are a lot of organizations that can help veterans find that housing, we were really limited in the community as far as where you could go to get things to help make that move a little easier. And as we all know, when you're moving into a new place, things add up quickly.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so to be able to give someone a little bit of assistance and alleviate that stressor of having to have furniture and those goods purchased, we rely heavily on the donations of this community, and the community as a whole is so generous and giving that it's a good position to be in when we say sometimes we're bulging at the seams with the amount of furniture we have.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we're the only ones that are able to provide that service for so many veterans.
So when people think of the word veteran, they sometimes think of, in their mind, a man who has served, and that's not always the case.
No, that's not. In fact, the fastest growing segment of the homeless population is the female veteran. Part of the problem that we know is that many women that served in the military do not even identify themselves as veterans. A veteran is anybody that served in the armed forces. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to be a combat veteran. So in our reaching out to veterans, especially the ones that are at risk of becoming homeless, what we want the community to know is that we are here for all veterans, and we are here especially for our families, which we're seeing a big increase of. It's not just a single vet on the street by himself. A lot of times these are women, single mothers with children, sometimes single fathers with children. But the face of the veteran isn't just exclusive to a male, it's a woman too. And so that's part of what we're trying to do with new programming this year, is to reach out to people that served in the military that don't necessarily even consider themselves veterans.
And then you have this Bikes for Stripes. How does that work?
Well, it's once again through donations from the city and through other organizations that have bikes that have been willing to give us those bikes. We have professionals take a look at the bikes, technicians work on things that may need to be repaired because they are donated. And when we get a request from a veteran for a bike, we have the vet test it out and make sure it's a good fit, and then we're able to provide that bike to him or her at no cost. The great thing about that is, as we know with a lot of veterans that suffer from isolation or PTSD, sometimes mass transportation is just not possible. Sometimes it's very difficult. And so to be able to give that bike to a vet to provide transportation, obviously physical fitness and activity, and then just that independence too. It's a great feeling to be able to help out in that respect.
Good stuff. And you just mentioned some of the issues that many of our vets deal with on a daily basis, the post-traumatic syndrome, mental illness. What are some of the other things that you see?
Well, really, reassimilation back into civilian life is something that a lot of veterans don't anticipate when they leave, when they separate from service, from active duty, that it's going to become an issue. There's a routine, there's a structure in the military, and we all know it, and people remark on that, on how structured it is. That coming home and trying to reassimilate and find their way throughout the civilian world isn't always that easy. And so there are frustrations that anybody can face. Maybe it's something as not able to obtain employment right away, or maybe there are family issues. Maybe, as we see and we know, the battlefront isn't always left somewhere overseas. The battlefront is sometimes at home.
Yeah,
and
comes home with them.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing. And so you talked about all of the different ways you're able to help vets, and also how the community has been very giving up to this point. So I'm sure there are some people out there, especially during this time of year, they're looking for that organization that they'd like to give to and help make a difference. So what are some of the things that you need, and how can people donate those things?
Sure. Our needs change, they fluctuate by the week. As I said, we receive donated items of furniture and household goods. Our main mission is to make sure that every vet is sleeping in a bed, to get that vet off the floor. Like I said, it does no good to have some place to live if you don't have a bed to sleep on, or a kitchen table to have dinner with your family. Yeah. So really, we want to make sure that every time we come in contact with a vet that's moving, that we have a bed to provide. It's donated mattresses that that we may have an abundance of, but things like bed frames, you don't really think about that, but that's what we run out of more than anything. So we're always putting out special requests for things like that, but really any small furniture that can fit in a small apartment or a studio, that's really what we're looking for as far as donations. We also collect personal hygiene items for the veterans that we provide outreach to that are still on the street. We do early morning searches for the vets, and so we bring them on a weekly basis. The hygiene items that everybody else uses in their home, but we're bringing smaller sized items to the vets, along with other household goods, pots and pans, dishes, linens, all sorts of things that you would find in your home. Those are
everything that we need on our everyday, day-to-day living is what you're looking for. I love that.
Exactly.
So your website address, people can get more information about all the things you're doing, as well as how they can donate. What is that address?
It's www.mkehomelessvets.org.
Okay, and you're located where in Milwaukee?
Our address is 7222 West Fond du Lac Avenue.
Okay, well, I do thank you so much for stopping by, and I really do appreciate all the hard work that you're putting in on a day-to-day basis to make a difference for our veterans. Thank you, and thank you for your service as an Army vet as well. Thank you again. And Kirtsin Sobieski, she is the Executive Director of Milwaukee Homeless Veterans Initiative. For more information, again, you can log on to mkehomelessvets.org, or you can call them at 763-5596. A special thank you to all the military vets who have fought, served, and sacrificed for our country, and a very special thank you again to Tuskegee Airman Lieutenant Colonel Julius Jackson for joining us today. That is going to do it for our show. I'm your host, Andrea Williams. I do appreciate you watching and hope you join us again next week as we take another look at our issues in Milwaukee. Have a great day.